Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel in the 21st century urban geographers. My name is Alwayne Smith and today we'll be looking at the Harris and Ullman multiple nuclei model. The topics to be discussed today are a history of the Harris and Ullman multiple nuclei model, the characteristics of this model, arguments for and against the multiple nuclei model, areas in which a multiple nuclei model is still being used. So the question is, what makes a city a city? Just to begin with, the term city can have different definitions depending on the context and the discipline in which it is being used. In general, a city is a densely populated human settlement characterized by a high degree of social and economic complexity, distinctively built environment, and a complex network of interaction between people, institutions, and the environment itself. Cities are at the center of every advanced society and act as a hub of economic, social, and political activities within that area. How do you describe a city? They have a variety of shapes and functions, and their geography impacts the daily lives of those who live in these cities and surrounding areas. They have large and dense populations, diverse and specialized economic activities, including manufacturing, trade, and services. On that very same note, a city has a high degree of social and cultural diversity, with people from different backgrounds and different walks of life living together in harmony. Complexity, they have a complexly built environment including buildings, infrastructures, and public spaces. Sophisticated governance system including local government, law enforcement, and public services. What does it mean to become urbanized? Cities evolve over time, and if a city had favorable factors, agriculture, access to water, trade, defense, its population increased. This led to urbanization, rapid growth, and migration to large cities. This increase in urban population resulted in a rapid expansion of great city and greater urbanization of society. After the conclusion of World War II, North America experienced rapid urbanization. There was a need for housing outside of the core urban areas due to growing population and demand. The result was the suburbanization of our society. Suburbanization is therefore the movement of people from core urban areas to the outskirts, called suburbs. So let's look at the history behind the Harris and Ullman multiple nuclei model. In 1945, Harris and Ullman developed the multiple nuclei model. They asserted that the Central Business District or CBD was no longer the only center of an urban area or city. In earlier models, the CBD was at the core of the urban land use model and was found at the heart of every old city. So, urban geographers Edward Ullman and Chauncey Harris created the multiple nuclei model in 1945. It is a model of US cities that improves on two influential but limited models, the Hoyt sector model from 1939 and the Burgess concentric zone model of 1925. All three models are associated with the Chicago School of Social Urban Sociology and are intended to aid urban planners, governments, and the private sector. Therefore, let's begin to look at a prime example or diagram of what the Harris and Ullman multiple nuclei model would look like. Here in the diagram, as you can see, at number 1 on our diagram, it represents the Central Business District, or the CBD. So this is the first nuclei or the main hub of the city. And number 2 will have the light manufacturing areas or wholesale. And beside it, we'll have number 3, which is the low class residential areas, which are the people who are able to pick jobs up at these light manufacturing areas or wholesale. Next, we'll have the medium class residential at number 4, which comprise most of the population size, and this surrounds the central business district because these people are able to pick jobs up and commute to the central business district areas. Next, we'll have at number 5 the high class residential areas, which are the people in high society, and these are the people living around the outlying business district, which means they get to share the outlying business district with the residential suburbs. Next, we'll have number 9, which represents the industrial suburbs. This industrial suburbs is also located close to number 3, which is the low class residential areas, and also number 4, the medium class residential areas, who are able to commute to these locations so they can pick jobs up within these zones. And at number 6, we have our heavy manufacturing areas, which is very close to number 3, which is the low class residential area. So if you notice, in the manufacturing zones, you'll have the low class residential or the medium class residential areas surrounding these areas, so these people can commute to these locations to pick jobs up. So it means therefore that these areas also act as nuclei or business districts or business locations within the model. So no longer does there is a representation of just one central business district or one nuclei or hub of business processing within the city, but based on this city model, the city has multiple nuclei. As we move along, we get to find out that it actually makes a lot of sense that the scholars at the University of Chicago developed many of these land use models because Chicago was a city that saw rapid growth in the 18th centuries. So let's look at the characteristics of the Harris and Ullman multiple nuclei model in more depth, and I'll share with you a video that will further explain the characteristics of this Harris and Ullman multiple nuclei.